All right, welcome everyone. It is April the 13th, 2020. This is Monday night conscious community class with me, Matthew Brownstein. And this is our second class in this new series of conscious community classes that I've launched. And last one was really well attended. I was able to post it on YouTube. That class was called the Bodhisattva Vow and Interpersonal Hypnotherapy. And tonight's class is really dedicated to what's happening now with COVID-19 and my book, Peace Under All Circumstances. I know my energy is different tonight because I knew tonight's class was on peace. And I was like, I want to spend a lot of time today just meditating and being really quiet and still and centered. So what I'm going to do is ask you to use the chat pod as we start to jump in. And tell me when you perhaps meditate or do yoga, whatever you guys do, what are some of the qualities that you feel? Now, you might say are qualities of the spirit. We're going to use that word tonight. It's implied in the Peace Under All Circumstances teachings that there is a reality called spirit. So please go ahead and use the chat pod. And what are some of the words? For instance, I'm looking for words like I feel more calm. When I meditate, when I get centered, I feel more joyful, or when I tap into spirit, I feel more love. Give me some of those words, if you would, please. Good, thank you. What's coming in? Susan said peace. Michelle, connectiveness. Lizzie, present. I won't say everybody's name anymore, but thank you, everybody who's typing. Relaxed, peaceful, pleasantly neutral. Nice. I feel aligned with myself. Relaxed. Beautiful. And no words just popped in. All right, so let me give you a little introduction to perhaps me, to the school. Our camera's flashing a lot. I apologize for that. I'm going to show you the PowerPoint we did last time much quicker, but just in case anybody's totally new to this or watching this as a YouTube video, just to get a sense of who I am, who the school is. So we're going to go to screen share for just a moment, and then we'll pull from the words that you guys shared and tell you a lot more about the intro to Peace Under All Circumstances. All right, so these Monday night conscious community classes started probably back in about 2012, and we've been keeping them going on and off all the way to this date, probably on more than off. And what I'll show you as we move through on our websites, there's well over 400 hours of these classes that have been recorded. Our website on the left, instituteofhypnotherapy.com, our main website. Again, I'm going through this very quick for those who were here last week. Our student portal, tfioh.com, and our association, interpersonalhypnotherapy.com. Monday night conscious community classes, again, relaunched because of the challenging time that we're all in right now. A little bit about me that's relevant tonight. I spent about 5 years of my life living in different spiritual communities, ashrams and monasteries. I lived in India. I meditated with masters in the Himalayas. And aside from all my education in philosophy, religion, traditional Chinese medicine, hypnotherapy, neurolinguistic programming, I would say I'm a very avid meditator. I thoroughly enjoy that state, and that's really part of the essence of what we'll be getting into tonight. We do offer these classes every week now, and these are some of the topics. I won't read them for the sake of time. Our school is Interpersonal Hypnotherapy, the Institute of Interpersonal Hypnotherapy. The school was started back in 2007 as the first and currently only school licensed by the Department of Education's Commission for Independent Education, and we keep growing to this day. Even during COVID, we're still doing well because we're mostly an online school. We do offer the first 4.5 hours of a training at no charge and additional classes for those who are interested. The Monday Night Conscious Community class, you can find the past 400 plus hours of recordings on both of our websites, but here's a direct link. Our complete training, there's Danny Fox, our Tampa director, Renuka Arjun, our Hollywood director, and other locations we have are listed on the screen. So over 500 hours of hypnotherapy training. The annual conference we did have to postpone, unfortunately, because of COVID. It's only postponed. We hope to relaunch it most likely, well, October is what's in my mind. We'll see how things go. We do offer many hypnotherapy CEU courses while you're just sitting around at home during this time of history. Here's tonight's topic, Peace Under All Circumstances. So my book, this book, one of 5 books I published, is on Amazon. And the YouTube video, the audiobook, is now on YouTube, as well as the guided meditations aren't up yet on YouTube, but that's on my to-do list. But I gave everybody my word I would get this recording of Peace Under All Circumstances on YouTube for the audiobook, and that's officially up now. Next week, we'll dedicate the class to yogic psychology and some of the deep teachings on opening the heart and working through emotional blocks. This is also available on our website, but next week we'll do, a good hour and a half, 2 hours on that topic. The Sutras on Healing and Enlightenment, one of my other books, and to some of the other topics that we cover in the Monday night classes. So we'll probably do some of these in the future, especially life mastery work, manifesting prosperity. A Course in Miracles, most likely we'll do one of those for a Monday night class. 2 of my other books. And just moving through, we covered all this last week. Just a reminder, we're very dedicated to helping our graduates to succeed. And in the area of the Conscious Community Online Library, where we have the 400+ hours of classes, there are these classes on marketing your practice as a hypnotherapist. So I highly recommend checking those out if you're a graduate or a current student and you really want to succeed in the field of hypnotherapy. This is from last week, our compassionate service to all beings until all beings are free from suffering, which dealt with the Bodhisattva vow and interpersonal hypnotherapy. And tonight's topic, the 10 questions, peace under all circumstances, and our subtitle here, being at peace during challenging times. All right, and again, the free audiobook is on YouTube. So there's a little intro for you. And stop sharing. All right, great. So welcome everybody. So it's a little bit of my background and about the school. The theme for me of peace under all circumstances started when I was, my spiritual path started in 1992. I went really deep into the studies, almost right away. But it was in 2005 anyway, after writing my other books, that I realized they were just really too deep. A lot of people just weren't connect with them, but I wanted to offer these teachings in a way that was much more global, universal, something that might go on Oprah someday. And a simple, short, sweet book called Peace Under All Circumstances is what came out, again, around 2005. The book is based on 10 questions that you can ask yourself, or as a hypnotherapist that you could ask your clients, or even doing group work with it, so that each question, when answered in a certain way, will help bring not just the mind, but who you really are, and who you really are is peace in this model. It brings you to a very deep state of peace. If you're aligned with the 10 questions, you might say when they're answered correctly, you'll feel a deep sense of peace. You'll notice that anytime you answer them in a way that doesn't lead to peace, that obviously you're not there. So let's take a moment right now before we go any further. A bunch of you shared some wonderful words: peaceful, pleasantly neutral, aligned with myself, relaxed, loved. Let's work to go into that. I'm sorry for all the flashing that's happening in the camera. So you're welcome to close your eyes. I'm going to do that now as well. I'm going to leave the camera on. Just encourage you to let your eyes close down and think about with everything that's been happening in the world, with your eyes closed, you can still be aware that you're right here now. Let me invite you to release the past. Take a moment as you come into the present moment to breathe. And everything that happened during the day, everything that your mind has been consumed with, just let it start to drop away. Every breath, allowing the past to fade away. And finding that place inside, again, where you know you're more centered, more peaceful, more calm and at ease. And perhaps you do that by releasing the future. Your mind can get so caught up with cares, worries, concerns, what could happen, the what ifs. Let me invite you now, as you're breathing, just to let it all go. Just to settle into the present moment, past and future fading away, and with your eyes closed, you're invited to direct your attention inwards. You can become aware of the room that you're in, and yet start to pull away from the external world so you're just aware of your body, sitting right here now. And with your eyes closed, anything outside of your skin really can wait. There's nothing you have to do. No problem you have to fix right now. Nowhere that you have to go. Just breathing. Again, releasing past, releasing future. And with your eyes closed, right at this stage, right where you're at, we'll go into question number 1 of peace under all circumstances. Who am I? I invite you to ask that question internally now and let your mind provide an answer, or wherever that answer comes from. Who am I? Which is to say, who are you? Right here now, in this moment, who am I? And with your eyes closed, ask yourself, am I my name? Am I my career? Am I a role that I play? Are you a father, a mother, a brother, a sister? A boss, an employee? Ask yourself, who am I? Are you your body? Are you the sensations in your body? Are you your emotion? And perhaps as you direct your attention inwards more and more, are you your mind? Are you intellect? Memories? The sense of ego, the sense of I am? Using your thoughts to identify that, to think I am, whatever you put after that. So again, as we're getting quiet, the theme tonight being peace, no matter what's happening in your life, no matter what's happening in the world, I invite you with eyes closed to again ask yourself, who am I? And if you've moved more into that place, which a lot of you have mentioned, I'll start to read again from the chat pod. Relaxed, pleasantly neutral, peaceful, present, connectiveness, peace. And from that place, when you're ready, I invite you just very slowly to open your eyes, take your time. And I'm going to ask you once again, anybody who'd like to share, most importantly, answering the question, who am I? Question number 1 for tonight, peace under all circumstances. Please answer, for those of you willing to share using the chat pod, what's the answer to that question? Who am I? So far, one answer, spirit having a human experience. Beautiful. What else? pure consciousness. Some of you have been around the block here with me. Good. So these two answers I have so far, but anybody feel free to contribute. How you answer that question is so important about peace. So what happens, you have the idea of a subject-object relationship. So if you hold your hand in front of your face right now, right, just let your hand be up. Ask yourself, am I my hand? Right, I'll put my hand down. But ask yourself, am I my hand? Now, it's very important how you answer that question. If you say, I am my hand, right, then anything that happens to you, the hand, is a cause for great distress, right? Because you could change, you could die, you could be removed from the body, right? You could look different than you looked before. Yet, if you were to say, I am observing my hand, then you're establishing the subject-object relationship, right? I am aware of my hand, subject-object. When we identify with the object of our consciousness, we tend to suffer a lot more. When we know ourselves to be the observing consciousness, we find out what everybody's been sharing tonight. I'm going to go back to the chat pod in a moment. That your true nature is the observer, not what's observed. Most people, though, are not aware of that one simple distinction, right? They're so caught up in thinking they are the human body. Because if you extrapolate, if you say, I am my hand, then why can't you say, well, I am both of my arms? And then really what most human beings are not just thinking, but actually kind of enmeshed in, is the idea that I am this body. Right? And when we are so caught up in the body thinking this is who we are, we can suffer tremendously. Peace, under all circumstances, is not to make your body peaceful. It's not to make your life peaceful. It's not even to make your emotions peaceful. And the deeper teaching is, it's not even to make your mind peaceful. Hold that thought for a sec. We'll see what else everybody wrote. One answer is love, about who am I? Beautiful. One is nobody and everything. Very nice. Answer is God. I take up a lot of space. That's what I said there. Answer was good, which could just be that you are pure goodness. I see the camera flashing again. My apologies. Another answer, extension of source. Beautiful. I am the flow between my heart, mind, and soul. Nice. And divine. Beautiful. So we all have different words. Obviously, most of you who are here are comfortable with these different words. The words that I would use, which you guys basically gave all of those, in the book anyway, is the word spirit. They're pretty simple. And then one attribute for me that helps with this teaching is consciousness, right? So the I am, the awareness that I exist, I am conscious. And everything I'm observing, I am conscious of, subject, object. So the external world right now, we know in many ways is not what we consider peaceful, right? There are all these people dying. There are a lot of people who are sick. There's a lot of beauty coming out of this, but also obviously a lot of challenge, a lot of difficult times. We know that that's what's happening out there, right? And even if you have something going on in your own body, we're still going to work with the idea that that's still in the out there. Right? So if we said you are not the external world, right, then we can say, can we allow that just to be as it is? So part of question one, when I say, who are you? It's not just to give an intellectual answer. We'll do some meditation tonight. It's to go, some more meditation tonight. It's to go back into who you are as spirit, to connect with that still, quiet, center place of peace. Then whatever's happening in the external world, for us to be at peace simply needs to be allowed to be what is. There are deep teachings here that say the more you move into peace, obviously the more peace we're going to have in the world. There's also the model that we create our own realities. Yet I'd like you to think about that from a slightly different point of view. Right? 13.8 billion years ago, some big explosion happened called the Big Bang. Right? We don't know necessarily how and why. Science doesn't really have all those answers. Metaphysics, religion, spirituality might give us answers, but really, it just happened. 13.8 billion years after that happened, you found yourself on the planet, right? You're here. You're spinning around the thing we call the sun. It's something like 30,000 miles per second per hour, something like that. Some crazy fast speed being hurled through space with all these other planets spinning around this thing. If you're really, you can get metaphysical and say, yeah, we create our own realities, but you really didn't do that, right? The Earth was going here for billions of years before you got here. It's like you drop down on the planet and you just say, okay, what's happening here? Now, if you can just observe that and say, oh, okay, there's birth, there's sickness, there's old age, there's death, there is COVID-19. These things are happening on the planet. Yet the question is, how immersed in that are you? So it's not that you necessarily created all of that in the peace model. It's just that you're simply observing it. And it's not necessarily that in this teaching that we're working to fix it or change it. This teaching is just, I want to feel good. I want to be at peace, right? If you're really honest with yourself, you don't want to feel bad. You don't want to suffer. You don't want others to suffer. And my experience of this teaching, this one essential question that starts it all off, who am I, helps you to make a distinction between what you're not and who you are. And for me, one of the deepest ways to be at peace is to say, whatever I'm not needs to be allowed to be what is, needs to be accepted as it is. Now, that doesn't mean that if you break your leg, you don't go to the doctor, because that's part of acceptance, right? A human body gets hurt, gets sick, we go to the doctor. Right? It doesn't mean we sit around and do nothing. It's just making this distinction between subject, object, consciousness, and everything else that it observes. And even though the first question doesn't really offer teachings about letting go, that's coming later in the teachings, or about surrendering or allowing, what's implied is I am the observing consciousness, and what I'm seeing is what is. I'm not saying I created it. I'm not saying I understand it at all. I'm just saying I'm observing it, and that the observer is peace. So before we go into the other questions to establish this whole premise that we can truly be at peace no matter what's happening, let's go through meditation that most of you who are been through our hypnotherapy training know about. It comes from a Sanskrit teaching. The Sanskrit words are Vivek Hyati, and it's a teaching that you really find in deep yogic or Sankhya philosophy that helps to establish the subject-object relationship, the idea that you are not what you're observing. The teaching there that you can use as I take you through this meditation, something you do in your mind, is neti neti. It means not this, not that. So a deep yogic practitioner would simply ask the question, who am I? And your mind, especially people who have not done a lot of this work, might provide an answer, right? I am Matthew. I am male. I am the owner of this, well, owner is not a great word anyway. I'm the executive director of the school. These are just roles. They're middle of those words are just little sound vibrations, right? My mind says executive director, whatever. But I can observe that thought. If I want to cling to it and hold on to it and say, yeah, that's who I am, that's my identity, now I'm going to suffer when that changes, right? I say, oh, if I'm no longer that, who am I? I'm no longer okay. So we're not only in this observing model, observing the external world, we're acknowledging our body and every single thing about the body, what it does, where it is in time and space, is actually not who we are, right? And again, most of you probably know, the average person, if you say, who are you? They've never even really been pushed with the question. They've never really meditated on the question. So the assumption, and it is an assumption, that I am a body is actually a great cause of suffering. There's also the sensations in the body, right? So if you say, I am a body, or if you say, I am hot, or I am cold, or I am tense, or I'm relaxed, you've identified with an object of your consciousness. You can't be at peace when you do that. It's like we say, as long as the body is at peace, meaning maybe calm and relaxed, then I am calm and relaxed. But peace under all circumstances says you have to be at peace when the body is not, what we'd say is at peace, when the body is not calm and relaxed. How would we do that? We'd have to know that we're actually not the body, and that we can say, I'm observing a body It's not calm and relaxed now. I'm observing a body that's tense, or I'm observing a body that is whatever it's doing. The body is hungry, right? You say, can you be at peace being hungry? If you feel like you are the body and therefore you are the thing called hunger, then it's very conditional, right? As long as all the conditions in the external world are okay, I'm okay. As long as everyone talks the way they should and acts the way they should and shows up the way they should, buys you flowers when they say they should, when they said they would, as long as they act the way they're supposed to, then I'm okay. Or as long as my body is the way I want it to be, fit and healthy and energetic and whatnot, then I'm okay. Or if my body feels that I want it to, then I'm okay. So the average person, if you said, how do we find peace? It might be about making the world be at peace. But if you really look, the world's really never been at peace, right? We have galaxies colliding into other galaxies. There have been tornadoes and earthquakes and hurricanes before you even got here, right? You drop down onto a planet that has hurricanes, tornadoes, cyclones, wildfires. In Africa right now, there's swarms of locusts that have, it's like a biblical plague that's occurring on the planet right now. Now, well, I'll say one thing before we go a little deeper. To be able to be at peace during these really horrible things, especially if you're in it, you must have developed, we'll call it that mental muscle before it happens. If you say, oh, this is a really stressful, difficult time, I better start meditating on this idea of peace. I don't want to say it's already too late. It's always a good time to start learning to truly be at peace. But it's better off that you do it first. It's kind of like saying, yes, you can lift that very heavy weight, but if you don't work out first, maybe you won't be able to do that. Or yes, you could run that marathon, but don't wait till the day you have to run the marathon to start training. I'm showing you lots of examples about that, but just one more silly one that popped in my head. They say, yeah, you can drive a car, but don't wait until you need to drive a car to figure out how to drive the car. Don't wait until you really need to be at peace to do that. A good example of that is in our hypnotherapy school, we teach hypnosis for pain management. Anybody who learns those teachings can learn to do that for themselves. And yet, if you wait until you're in pain to start practicing those teachings, it doesn't work as well. So ideally, you can practice that stuff beforehand. When you need it, it's there for you. Okay, so we're going to dive into in a moment the Vivekhyati teaching. And again, keep looking at these levels that we're discerning what we are and what we're not. The term Vivekhyati in Sanskrit refers to discerning wisdom. Right? You can discern a left hand from a right hand. You can discern a left eye from a right eye. And we have that ability. You can discern, I'm just looking at the camera image, like hair from skin. The mind has the ability to do that. But what most people don't practice is discerning the real from the unreal, truth from illusion, who you are from what you're not. It's one of the deepest, most powerful teachings I've come across in, we'll just say, deep yogic philosophy that helps you to discern who you are from what you're not. That which is always changing from that which is always calm, still, and perfectly at peace. Right? We didn't create, just like I'm saying, you didn't create this whole universe. You didn't create this earth. I know a lot of you believe we create our own realities, but if you're really honest, you didn't make all the mountains and the trees, and God knows you wouldn't have made all the hurricanes and earthquakes and viruses. Right? So that's just what's happening on this planet that somehow we find ourselves on. When you know, all right, I'm not the planet, I'm not anything happening on the planet, I'm just here observing. But this body grew out of the planet, right? If you think about the way the whole thing worked, your parents had sex, sorry for the imagery, a body grew inside of your mother's womb, at least for most people, like, that's kind of how it goes, right? And then your mother ate stuff from the earth, and that became your body, and then you plop out. You don't know how you got here, where you're from. You have total amnesia of everything that happened before. You're just here now, somehow. And there's an identification that occurs where we would simply feel and think, I am this body that I'm in. The deeper teachings help us to know, no, you're not the body. But you can't necessarily tell that to a 1-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 10-year-old. It takes people quite a while to start to get to the place, usually when they've suffered enough, which is part of the peace under all circumstances questions and teachings, to say, you know, I am suffering by thinking that I am this limited, finite, changing, vulnerable human body. And so again, the Vekyati, we start to discern who we are from what we're not. And it starts by saying, I'm not the external world. I'm not my body. And then as we go deeper, more subtle and inwards, I'm not the sensations in the body, right? I'm not hot or cold or hungry or tired or whatever. It's just something I can observe. So instead of saying I am hungry, I can say I observe hunger. Now, it's not really a mental trick that we're working towards tonight. It's a true state of being that, again, doesn't go away no matter what's happening to the human. The state of being, we could call that spirit, is still always at peace. And the beautiful thing is, just as you know, say, create this planet, you didn't create who you really are. Right? There's the teaching that you're not your own creator. So it's like, well, here I am. I don't know how I became I am. I don't know how I started amming, but here I am. And here's everything else that's just amming, right? The planet is just doing its thing. Viruses are doing their thing. There's survival of the fittest, whatever's going on out there. There's all these things competing for their own existence on the planet. Here I am in the midst of that. How do I be at peace in this, what seems like this chaotic world? When we start to pull back, again, we're going deeper in as we go, and we'll do this in a formal meditation. We can say, I'm not this world, neti, not this. I'm not this body, which is just part of this world, not that. I'm not the sensations in the body. I'm not that hunger. I'm not that thirst, not that. Now we can go deeper, just intellectually explaining the teaching, into the emotional self. Because the human being is part of this world, and there are emotions that are part of the human being, part of this world, it's very easy to get caught up in those, right? I am sad. I am scared. I am angry. I am anxious. I am vulnerable. And all of the other things we can say about ourselves when we identify with the human form. I'm limited, I'm lacking, I'm separate, I'm not good enough, I'm bad, I'm stupid, I'm ugly, I'm shameful. The belief systems and emotions that are in the human being, it's important in these teachings to acknowledge those are in the human being, right? To be totally at peace, if you had to be done with all negative emotions and all negative thoughts, it would take forever. You couldn't have peace available to you right now if you're waiting to make the world a certain way, your body a certain way, the sensations in your body a certain way, or your mind or your emotions. So in this discernment meditation, you could ask, am I my emotions? The answer is no. Am I the anger? No. Am I the fear? No. If you're really scared during what's happening on the planet now, are you the fear? The answer would be no. And then as we go more subtle, we start looking at our mind. Are you your thoughts? Right? And we'll do that in a meditation to explore the nature of thought. If you don't find out who's the you observing body, mind, and emotions, then technically the way it usually works is you are mixed. The Sanskrit word for that is sanyog. It means that sanyog is unmixed. Viyog, I haven't used those terms in a while. Viyog is with mixed. So Viyog, you're one with your body. There's a feeling like I am this. You've never been really extracted from the human experience. In what's called sanyog, the consciousness learns to pull back, to observe or to witness the human. When you can just simply pull back, observe, and witness, you get some space between you and what's going on. You might even say down there. So peace under all circumstances doesn't necessarily imply this up or down or in or out. It just says whatever's happening out there or down there, I can observe that. I can allow it to be there. And I can find the most profound sweetness and peace inside of myself. So without further ado, I'm going to leave the camera on. I'm going to invite you to close your eyes. I'm going to close my eyes. And let's go through this meditation known as Vivek Kyati, discerning wisdom. And again, as an introduction, we're separating in our minds, in our experience, the real from the unreal, truth from illusion, that which is changing from that which is not, the external world from the truly deep internal world, that which is vibrating, moving, and changing, and that which is perfectly still. So listen right now to the sounds that you hear around you, even with your eyes closed. You can hear the sound of my voice in the present moment. You might hear other sounds in the room that you're in, or sounds outside of the room, and ask yourself internally, am I the sounds that I'm hearing right now? Am I the sound of the air conditioner, of the heater, wherever you may be? Am I the sound of Matthew's voice? And answer in your mind, no, I'm not this sound, I'm not that sound. Not intellectually, yet really experience you are there, observing through your ears. Notice how the sounds outside of you are objects of consciousness. Your ears are the sense organ, and you are the consciousness listening through the ears. The deeper listening. And you can do that with all of your senses, your mouth, anything you would taste. We'd say, are you that apple? Are you those strawberries? You'd say, no, I'm not that apple. I'm not those strawberries. I'm not this tongue. I am the observer of the sense organ and the object of consciousness. Let's assume it's true for all the senses and move closer to your body now. Become aware of the floor beneath you. Even with your eyes closed, you can sense the walls around you, the ceiling, even the chair beneath you or whatever you're sitting on. Ask yourself internally, am I the floor? And then just affirm in your mind, no, not the floor. Am I the ceiling? No. Am I the chair I'm sitting in? No. Now, before we go any deeper, how do you know you're not the floor, the walls, the ceiling, or the chair? If we removed the chair and replaced it with a different one, you'd still be here. The chair can change, but you're still here. The floor is a different floor than it was perhaps this morning for you, but you're still here. So pull away from all those external objects, give yourself a break from all that stuff out there by acknowledging I'm not the room I'm in. And feel your clothing and ask yourself, am I my shoes? Am I my socks? Am I my shirt or my pants? And then again, affirm in your mind, very practical, really do it and experience it. I'm not these shoes. I'm not these pants. If you could observe it, it's not you. And if it's changing, it's not you. Just affirm in your mind, I'm not any item of clothing in my body. Now observe your feet. And you could wiggle your toes for a moment, just be aware you're wiggling your toes. Then bring them to stillness. Ask yourself, am I my left foot? No. Am I my right foot? No. Am I my left leg? No. Observe, am I my right leg? No. Am I my hands and arms? No. Am I the body? No. Your body is about 70 trillion cells. Are you the 35 trillion lower ones? No. The 35 trillion upper ones? No. I'm the observer of all these cells. Keep going deep inside. I'm not my kidneys. And as you're observing the human, just let it relax. You don't have to really do anything about it. It's just there. Am I the stomach? No. Am I the lungs? No. And then you keep moving inwards to your sensations. Feel what you feel in the body. Pressure, tension, the surface beneath you, the temperature of the air around you. the temperature of the body and start asking yourself, am I these sensations? No, I'm not what I feel in my toes, not what I feel in my back, not what I feel in my chest. Now keep moving in to your solar plex region, to your heart, and start to observe what you might feel in your emotional sense of self. Really questioning this phrase, sense of self. Notice if there's sadness or hurt. Notice if there's fear or any flavor of fear or anger or guilt or regret. Simply observe, where would these emotions be if they are there? Most of them are not there. Ask yourself, am I the fear that can move in my body? Right? The human is a body. It has fear like all the other bodies in the planet. All those animals have fear. Your body has fear in it. Somehow you observe fear in there when it's there. But ask yourself, am I the fear? Now it's important to make that distinction between the you who's observing the emotional being. Again, discernment. Are you the emotion? Answer in your mind, no, yet find the observer of the emotion. And this is the gentle reminder. Your emotions cannot hurt you. Just like everything else that moves in the world, you're allowing them to be there. They're just part of the observable world. And everybody's got them. As you observe your hands, you could say, yeah, I have hands. And as you look at the emotional space, I have emotions. Yet we're allowing everything down there to be just as it is, to be truly at peace. Let's move up to the mind now. Go deep, way inside, wherever you think you find your thinking. Where are your thoughts? Perhaps you move more up into the head, towards the brain. And take a moment as I'm silent for just a moment to observe your thoughts. Just watch your mind for a moment. And if you notice no thought for some amazing reason, let a thought arise. Just think anything you want. What am I going to have for dinner? Maybe I shouldn't have eaten that whole burrito. Just notice any thought in your mind. Now, this is a more subtle, tricky one because your mind has to help here. Let your mind say, who am I? Yet I'd like you to observe the questioner. The mind said, what am I going to have for dinner? Who am I? Take a moment and bring up a memory. Think about what you had for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Think about the house you lived in as a kid. And then listen to these words. Those are your memories, just like it's your hand or your emotions. Your memories, your mind. Let your mind say 2 + 2 = 4. And listen to those thoughts. Let your mind say 2 + 2 = 5. Be the observer of your intellect, and whether your intellect is right or wrong, accurate or not. Notice how it's not you, just something you're observing in time and space. Just another one of those energies that move around down there. Now, here's the most beautiful question perhaps your mind could ask. So ask this in your mind. Do you hear me? Let your mind say that internally. And notice how there's a you observing the one who asked that question. You could even let your mind say, yeah, I hear you. But don't be fooled. You can do that in your mind. Try it again. Do you hear me? And notice how your mind will say, yeah, I hear you. But the real question is, who's the you who observed both of those type of thoughts? There are really no words for it, but you're in there. You can't deny that you're there. Now start to focus on that you. Now I'll describe that a bit, encourage you to go there. Take this time, we'll take a total escape from the whole world, including our human self, body, mind, and emotions. This is the invitation to go up into spirit. You do transcend because it is a feeling of moving in and up. Notice that you're conscious. You're aware. I am. Notice how you're always the same. You're always peace. You're always silent. You're always pure. You're unchanging. And the deeper spiritual traditions would say you're immortal. You're eternal. You're forever free. Again, not philosophical, that's your mind. Not intellectual, that's your mind too. Find the observer who's just there. Pure peace. Establishing your sense of self as that self. As a form of meditation, because you might get caught up in the lower self, the body, mind, and emotions, as you gently, mindfully inhale, think to yourself, I am. As you exhale, think peace. Once again, inhale, think I am. Exhale, peace. I am. Peace. If it helps, hold your attention behind your two physical eyes, back in your forehead. I am peace. Now you'll probably notice as you do this, the human is settling down and relaxing. Yet once you're established in the seat of the knower, the consciousness, the observer, it hardly matters what the human is doing because you're up there watching. Now imagine that from that place of pure peace in you as you, look down. There's a human down there. It has a mind, it has beliefs, it has emotions, there's sensations in the body, there's a body. None of it's perfect down there, according to our standards that we might say is perfect. It has issues. And then you might, with your eyes closed, be aware of the world out there. But now practice being the subject, observing all those objects. You can be at peace no matter what's happening with the manifest object, because you're the unmanifest subject. You're the observing consciousness who's always at peace. This is the reminder to meditate on that every day so that when you need to return to it, it's there anytime you wish. In a moment, I'll gently invite you to start to slowly open your eyes. But before you do, remain seated as the observer. Don't feel like you have to drop back down and become a human. You've never been a human. You've always been the consciousness that you are. You've always been peace. So feel like, if you like, you're sitting in what's called the seat of the soul. The observing self. You're not in a body. The body is in you. In a moment, very slowly, as your eyes gently open, see if you can remain seated there, being the observer. And then again, I welcome you in to be right here with me. And let's get a little chat pod feedback. What was that like for you? I could say, how did that feel Yet, not really how did your body feel, not how did your emotions feel, not even what happened with your mind. Yet, the you, who's that underlying observer, what's it like when you're guided there? Good. I see the word nice. I see the word peaceful. What else? And wait till you use the chat pod. I'll take a drink while you are. Great. Calm, quiet, centered. Awesome. All right. So you guys aren't typing quick enough, so I'll move on. That's question number one, and some of the kind of meditations you can do. Let's talk a little bit about hypnotherapy because we're a hypnotherapy school. When your client comes in, they're usually completely immersed in the human experience, right? They are their body, they are their emotions, they are their mind. They're asking for that to feel better. We can do that, right? There are many caregiving professions that help the world and the body, the emotions, the mind to be in a better, more pleasurable state. Yet, the deeper peace under all circumstances teachings relate to a lot of yogic philosophy, yogic psychology, which we'll talk about more actually in next week's class. In yogic philosophy, there's what's called sukh and dukh, pleasure and pain. Sukh, dukh, pleasure, pain. It's not about, peace isn't about trying to get the human to be in a state of pleasure. Yet most of your clients come in because something isn't pleasurable. You have a lot of tools in hypnotherapy to help it to feel pleasurable. All right, we can help the body to relax, we can clear negative emotions. Through forgiveness work, you can release so much of the tension in the mind. There's beautiful teachings. Yet at some point, what I'll do with clients, not always and not right away, I might just ask at some moment when they're really caught up in something, who are you? It's like pulling the rug out, right, from underneath the person's feet. Like pulling the chair out from under them. It just makes it pull like the bottom, pulling the bottom card out of the card house. It's a process of actually deconstructing the ego. And we'll talk about ego a bit tonight because it's one of the 10 questions, one of the aspects, one of the 10 questions. Right? So if you start to deconstruct someone's worldview, it can be, and that's what's happening right now on the planet, right? It's such a challenging time that most people's sense of reality is really being shaken up. But if you already shake up your reality before life shakes it up, the great poet Rumi, he said, it was basically the idea of Christ's line, you built your house in sand. He said, like, tear your house down now. Don't wait for life to do it. It's eventually going to be torn down anyway. And what that means is the structure that we hold together, right? I have this life, I have these people in my life, I have this job, I have this money, I have this state of health. Like that stuff can change. These teachings don't say that you have to change any of it, right? It's just doing what it's doing. You still have a family. You're not renouncing or getting rid of anything. You're not sacrificing anything. You're just releasing your attachment to those things to allow whatever's happening to do whatever's happening. So in this idea of sukh, dukh, pleasure, pain, when we say, who am I? We're really saying you're the observer of pleasure and pain. And in the human experience, there's always been pleasure and pain. Peace isn't to always get pleasure. And so again, we can't go too into it right now, but when you ask somebody, who are you? And really whatever answer they give, when you kind of play that game with someone, is kind of wrong, right? They say, oh, like, who am I? I'm Matthew Brownstein. Wrong, that's just your name. Well, who are you? Well, I'm just a guy. Well, no, that's just the sex gender of your body, right? Who are you? Every time they give an answer, unless they really acknowledge, I'm pure consciousness, I'm pure spirit, I'm pure peace, then most likely they're probably wrong. But even with deeper spiritual aspirants, we don't necessarily let them get away with words either, right? If they go, I'm just, I don't want to say anything anybody said in the chat pod, it's all good. But whatever words you give, it's important to realize those are just words. It doesn't mean the person is sitting in the seat of their soul. It doesn't mean they are in a place of pure peace, right? Because there's intellectual answers of who you are spiritually, and then there's the being that you are. So at any time, friends, family, clients, whenever it feels appropriate, but it's usually not appropriate, but when it feels appropriate, who are you? And that's question one. When you answer, I am a body, I am a human, I am the emotions, I am angry, I am sad, I am the mind, and even to the sense of ego. If we answer yes to any of those things, we're going to suffer. When you answer, I'm the observing consciousness who's pure peace and pure bliss and pure love and pure joy and one with all that is, or focusing more on peace tonight. But spirit is all of those things. It is peace and love and joy and oneness and wisdom. And it does tend, when you're centered in it, it does tend to bring peace to everything you're observing. That's the real deep teaching. When you surrender and let go, let everything be as it is, and just observe for a while. Like, it becomes a life practice. It's not, I do this in the meditation cushion, but that's it. It's in every moment things. Like, how often are you being the consciousness? Always. How often are you aware that you are who you are? Ideally always, but not always. I'm not always at peace, but I can use these teachings to pull back to that place and realize actually who we are is always at peace. Okay, so we can go on and on about that. Let me just see what else people wrote. Please share anything you like or ask questions, and then we'll move on to the other questions. I don't have that annotated on the screen because of the nature of Zoom, but question one, if you're taking notes, is simply, who am I? Some of what else you guys wrote there. Unmanifest, God beyond the beyond. Somebody's been in their school. And also we hear aligned, balanced, peaceful. Beautiful. So I love these type of teachings because they're not intellectual. They're not philosophical. You can show anyone you're in there. Right? I don't care how atheistic, skeptical, agnostic this person is, how much they want to debate. You're there. And it's not, to me, about who's right and wrong. It's not intellectual. It's not philosophical. It's just, here you are. And you're either there in that place of peace or you're not. But since you're always that, it's almost a wonder that we're not always there. And that's why, again, we meditate to practice being there. So in case you're new to meditation, and we're a hypnotherapy school, but the Monday night classes, especially during COVID, I want to focus more on the meditative teachings. If you meditate every morning for just 5 minutes, every evening for 5 minutes, you start to find that space. Then as you're finding it more and more, that place of pure peace, pure bliss, pure joy, you just want to meditate more. And then the 5-minute habit that you got into starts to become a 10-minute habit because you just want to sit. Eventually, you're not even using a timer. You're just sitting as long as you physically are capable of sitting in meditation. So what we do internally in meditation, there's a lot of teachings. Yeah, let me just encourage everybody who's needing the reminder. Actually, I'll say this. Any good book in meditation, a good teaching in meditation, should motivate you to want to get on the cushion, right? So if I can encourage you, just take 5 minutes morning, 5 minutes evening, make it a discipline, get in the habit. Eventually, it's so pleasurable, so blissful, so beneficial, you'll just start doing it more and more. And then it's not necessarily something you do just when you're sitting. It's something you do when you're walking, when you're eating, when you're making love, when you're driving a car. It's like, why would you ever not be who you are? Question number 2, moving on. Question 2. I know it, but I'll just like, can I handle this? Question 2, can I handle this? The idea here is when life is happening to you, you have a choice, right, in any moment. So COVID-19, can you handle it? If you say no, your system, the human system, the body, mind, emotion system is going to freak out, right? I can't handle this, right? There are a lot of people becoming unemployed right now. Some of you might be struggling financially. Can you handle it? If you say, and this is like very deep, if you're really feeling inside, if you think no, can't handle it, it's like almost immediately a fear response. And it relates a lot to the programming that we as hypnotherapists hear a lot about. I'm incapable. I'm not good enough. I am, I'm not able to handle what's happening. Whenever we have those kind of belief systems, we jump right into fear mode. So whatever's going on, right? Financial struggle, health struggle, global challenges, can you handle it? You have to sit at home and do nothing. Can you handle it? The only answer, I mean, there might be variations of the words you use, but the only answer that I found brings peace is, yes, I can. Can you handle that there's a big virus hurting and killing a lot of people? I can handle it. Somebody said, maybe this is like the end of human civilization. Somebody said that to me. I'm like, well, the Roman Empire fell too. Can you handle it? Yes, I can. Do you want it? Are you encouraging it? That's not the question. It's just some things might happen. We're not predicting the future. I'm just saying whatever's happening, can you handle it? Yes, I can is one of the next major steps towards being at peace. So there's question one, which to me is a foundation. And then there's the other questions, which really just help if you're not fully there to find what aspect of your psyche is not fully there, right? And if you say, okay, yes, I am consciousness, but I'm here in a body, and the body might not have food. The body might have to stand in long lines to be able to get food. What if I don't have food that night? What if I don't have a place to sleep? Like, this is very real for a lot of people. I'm not saying that we want it to be that way, right? But offering a chance for peace. So notice, even as I was talking, I can feel when it's like, I don't know if I can handle that. It's instant stress and tension. So let's all take a breath, exhale, and say, yeah, there's challenges out there. Can you handle it? Now step into your power. Yes, I can. Can I handle what's happening right now on the planet? Yes, I can. Can I step up to the challenge that life is asking me? Yes, I can. And then go back to question one. Why? Because I'm a spiritual being, which actually leads to question three, or it's all connected. So question two, you can ask yourself at any time. You don't have to go in order, and you can ask your client at any time. And again, you can be respectful and ask it in a way that seems appropriate in the moment. But yeah, I hear you. That's really hard right now. Can you handle it? Again, if they say no, there will be stress. And maybe all felt that a little bit when we're talking about the challenges out there and what if you couldn't handle it? What if you just say, yeah, I can handle that with strength, with confidence, with personal power, with a sense of being self-assured, secure within yourself, knowing, yeah, I can handle it. So anytime there's a challenge, you might just ask yourself, can I handle it? Just program yourself, right? We're all kind of hypnotists here, hypnotherapists. So program yourself. Can you handle it? Yes, I can. Question three, and I'll lead up to question three with this statement. Now that you can handle it, can you be at peace with it? So question three is, can I be at peace with this? Can I be at peace with what's happening? Well, if I am the observing spirit who is peace, and if life is something I can handle, right? I can deal with this thing called life. It's challenging. Yeah, it can be scary at times, but really, I can handle it. If I can handle it, can I be at peace with it? If you answer no, obviously what happens, right? But think about it. Anybody who's not at peace, can you handle it? No. Can you be at peace with it? No. So those answers create suffering. Can I handle it? Yes, I can. Can I be at peace with it? Yes, I can. But the camera's flickering right now. Who am I? Just the one observing it. Okay, we'll fix it hopefully, but I can observe it. And then, can I handle it? Yeah, I can handle it. I don't have to fix it right now, but I can handle it. And then, can I be at peace with it? Yes, I can, right? I get stopped as I was talking about that. So, can I handle it? Yes, I can. Can I be at peace with it? Yes, I can. Question number 4 and question 5 are related. Question 4 is, what am I feeling right now? What am I feeling in the present moment? Because most human beings, we'll talk about this a lot in next week's class, yogic psychology, opening the heart teachings, because most of us, we'll just say human beings, are not okay with their feelings. They don't know what to do with their feelings. They tend to suppress and bottle up their emotions, or they tend to act out on their emotions, let that whole being run the show. It's like they're either suppressing the inner child and making that part really messed up in there, or they're letting the inner child run their life. Right? Like any addiction. You say, no, I shouldn't drink all that alcohol during this intense time on the planet, but I have this urge, so I'll push it away. We call that suppression. Then if you say, oh, no, I'm just going to let him do what he wants to do, right? That part of me, call it the inner child, the emotional self. Some people use Eckhart Tolle's the pain body idea. If you let that motivate your behavior, then you're acting out on it, you're suppressing it. How to heal that will be mostly the topic of next week's class. And how to heal that on your own, not necessarily just with hypnotherapy and related modalities, like how do you clear what's inside of you? So you don't have to have all that stuff in there, all those negative beliefs, negative emotions, negative behaviors that come out of those beliefs and emotions. Yet in the peace teachings, you don't have to heal all that, change all that, fix all that. You just ask, what am I feeling right now? Which again leads to question 5 that's intimately connected, we'll get to in a moment. When you just ask, how am I, or what am I feeling right now? It helps to create some space between you and what you're observing. right? It's another way of saying that question is what's happening outside of my body right now? Well, there's a world happening. There's a thing called life happening. There's evolution. There's creation. We don't know what's going on really. There's just stuff happening out there. You don't have to define or label. There's just there's stuff going on the planet that I happen to be on for whatever reason. And then there's this body. How do I feel? What's going on with the sensations in the body? If this question is, how do I feel? Which relates to the emotions, right? What emotions you're observing right now? So again, if you're not at peace, it gives you a chance to identify the part of the human that's not at peace. But we're not implying here that the human or the heart, the emotions, the mind, that those need to be at peace. So when you answer that question, if you were not at peace, you might say, well, I'm scared. But listen to those words carefully. I am scared. Like I am the thing called fear. I am sad. I am hurt. I am guilty. I am vulnerable. It's more of a belief system. The moment that's acknowledged, you'll notice that there's an identification with it. It's like, all right, I acknowledge his anger, but I might still think I am my anger. So I say, well, I am angry, which leads to question 5. Again, it's intimately connected to question 4, and it leads us back to the observing consciousness. Who is observing this right now? I'll read the exact words from the book, which are, who is experiencing this right now? Right? And that could be what's happening in the world, but more importantly, this question is about what's happening in the human heart. Who is experiencing this anger right now? Who is experiencing the fear now? Who's experiencing frustration now or sadness now? Right? So next time you get nervous about what's happening in the world, this question is, the first question, if we go to number 4, what am I feeling now? Just make space to allow the emotion to be there, right? What's there now? And eventually you don't have to say, I am angry. You're just saying, there's anger. Oh, there's fear. Oh, it's like, there's the inner child. Oh, she's sad. Oh, she's scared. Oh, look, she's feeling guilty now. Again, we don't have to fix, change, heal what's down there to be at peace. It's just, okay, there's a tree. There's an inner child inside who feels guilty. Question 5 is, who is experiencing that right now? When you pull back and observe, you learn you're not your inner child. You're not your inner critic parent voice. And the deeper teaching is, you're not your adult ego state. The sense of who you think you are as an adult is also what we might call ego, an individual sense of self, a role that can be played, but a role that could be observed. It's like, all right, yeah, there's an adult ego state in there, yet I'm the observer of it. So who is experiencing that? If I'm not the inner adult, business, professional, whatever, and if I'm not my emotional inner child, and if I'm not my inner critical parent voice, if you still got one of those, then who are you? And again, it always goes back to, I'm the observing consciousness. I observe the inner child in there. I observe that there's fear in there. I observe there's anger. Now, the more we meditate and learn to pull back and observe, that lower self, including the world, the external world, and our body, and our sensations, and our emotions, and our mind, tend to harmonize on their own when we just pull back and watch. Right? So these are very practical teachings too. It's not just that you get to be at peace. Now, most of you know and understand law of attraction. You don't have to try to fix the world through visualization and suggestion therapy. All that stuff that we do in hypnotherapy is great. You should keep doing it. It's so good. But the deeper teachings say, if you just pull back and observe, you already are peace. You don't have to program in using hypnosis, you are peace. You just find who you are right now as peace. You don't have to visualize you in a peaceful place. I mean, that's good stuff. We do that work. Yet the deeper teachings say, just be peace. Right? Everything you're trying to do with your mind to make the world better or make your human better, right? The body, mind, emotions. If you just pull back and watch, it tends to harmonize itself better than you could do on your own anyway. So again, it's very practical to just pull back to who's observing. All right, so question 4, what do I feel? And then question 5, who's observing those feelings? Now, those are the first 5 questions. I'll review them, and the last 5 are kind of their own set, and they're really designed for if you've gone through the first 5, and you're still not at peace, there's probably something you're doing in your mind that's really messing with you one way or another. So question one again, who am I? So do it right now. I hope by the end of this class you were so centered in peace. All right, because this is a longer class, right? But it's just like a 2-hour, whatever long it's going to be, meditation on peace. Why not just take the time? So who are you? Just whoop, right up to here I am. I am peace. And that should be it. But if you didn't fully bring you to complete peace on every level, in every way, go through the other questions. So question 2, can I handle this? And if you're really in the moment, just make it the thing called life. Whatever happens to you tomorrow, because you might say, yeah, you create your own reality, and there's a lot of truth to that, but really, life is going to happen to you tomorrow. You will experience things that you've never experienced before. There's stuff going on the planet we've never experienced before. Question 2, can you handle it? Just answer, yes, I can. Yes, I can. A little accent in there. Question 3, can I be at peace with it? Right? There's this thing called COVID-19. Why is it robbing you of peace? Because you're not answering the one question correctly. Can you handle it? Yes, I can. Can I be at peace with it? Yes, I can. Now, let's say it's happening. Let's go a little deeper and challenge us. Let's say you have, I don't want to put a negative suggestion in your head, but let's say you get really sick, right? Or your body actually has a thing called pain. Can you be at peace with it? Again, if you didn't practice this stuff beforehand, no, right? You didn't strengthen that mental muscle. You can't lift that weight. You don't know how to drive that car, but now you're being asked to. If you're really uncomfortable in your body, which could happen, if you know who you really are and you've practiced in meditation to pull back into that, then you're like, oh, this is a very uncomfortable feeling. Okay, well, my throat really hurts. Well, okay, I can't breathe now. Now, that can happen to a human body. But again, listen to the words. I can't breathe now. You're not the breath. You're not the body. You're not the lungs. I'm not saying, this is all horrible stuff that's going on. Yet there's still the opportunity for peace, right? If you can pull back and watch. Now, again, words like allowing, surrendering, letting it go, letting it be. Right? There are things like asthma, allergies, there's ways we have COPD. There are ways that we have difficulty breathing. We're not encouraging any of that yet. Let's say you had COPD and you have to be on oxygen. Who are you? Well, you're not a person, you're not an old man or woman on oxygen. You're not an old sick person, whatever, on oxygen. You're the spiritual consciousness observing the human being who's on oxygen. Can you handle it? Yes, I can. Can you be at peace with it? Yes, I can. What are you feeling now? Well, part of me really doesn't like it. Who's observing? Question 5, who's observing that? I'm observing a lower self who's not okay with what's going on. But the more we observe, the more that lower self who resists just fades away. So the deeper teaching there, you may have heard this, suffering is resistance to what is. And this will lead into the latter 5 questions. The idea of really just learning to let go. It's not just letting go of the external world, because you pretty much let all that go anyway, right? The ocean is going up and down doing its thing, and you already let that go, right? It's just doing what oceans do. And then, right, the sun is, well, the Earth's going around the sun, but like it looks like the sun rises and sets. You're allowing that to happen. You're allowing the vast majority of everything happening in the world to do its thing. Right, there are forests and there's deforestation, and for the most part, you're still allowing that. Imagine going to the beach and you're watching waves go up and down, and you say, I really like when they go up, like stock charts with the Dow Jones index, whatever. I really like when it goes up, but I don't like when it goes down. Right, the S&P goes down. We don't like that. Right? Imagine going to the beach and saying, I do like when the waves go up, but I don't like when they go down. You're not okay with the external world yining and yanging, going up and down, in and out, back and forth. That's what it does out there, pleasure and pain, right? So the secret here is allowing all of it, 100% of everything vibrating, moving, and changing, just to be as it is. If it moves, if it vibrates, let it go. And again, this is going into the 5 latter questions. The whole idea of letting it go, because when you cling to it, when you're attached to it, when you need it to be a certain way, you suffer. When you can allow it just to be as it is, you can be at peace with 100% of what's happening outside your body. Because the 0.001% you're not okay with is actually a choice, right? You choose, say, all right, S&P 500 went down, I'm not okay with that. That's just like saying those waves shouldn't be going up and down. You're okay with the waves going up and down at the beach, be okay with the stocks, whatever, going up and down. And again, that's a choice. Now, as we're moving inwards, right, we're letting the external world be as it is because we're the observer of it, but same with the body. Now the body's getting older. Can I handle it? Yes, I can. Can I be at peace with it? Yes, I can. Oh, the body just got sick. Can I handle it? Yes, I can. Can I be at peace with it? Yes, I can. The deep peace teachings from the world's great spiritual religious traditions have never stopped pain and sickness and death. That's still here. Christ came about. There's still that here. Buddha came about. Buddha meditated 500 years before Christ to try to find a way to relieve all human suffering. And I believe he did. And part of these teachings come from that amazing event that occurred. Yet if you noticed, there is still human suffering. And Christ came and he did his thing, and there is still pain and suffering. Yet they gave us, these great beings did give us these ways to find true peace. And honestly, my personal belief is if everybody did that, we would have a much different world. And I do believe some of these teachings really relate to what these great masters, these great beings said. And so we're allowing the external world to be as it is. We're not trying to change it because it's doing what it's been doing for billions of years. And although it doesn't say don't take positive action in these teachings, right? We are working to make the world a better place. Just in any given moment, what is what is. I can allow it to be that way, and then if it needs my attention, I need to fix something, I can do that, right, to the best of my ability. Okay, so let the world be as it is. You let your body, just in that moment to be at peace, be as it is. Sensations just are as they are. Emotions, they are as they are. And even your mind is as it is. The more you can pull back and observe, then you could say there's always a deeper level of observing. You say, yeah, I learned to let the external world be as it is, but I'm not okay with his gray hair or whatever. It's part of what's happening in the external world, right? Your body that gets older is part of the external world. It suffers from entropy. It's part of the world of change. And you're observing this part of the universe. It's not you. It's just a part of the universe that you're observing. Right? If you change it that way to say, my body is just a part of the universe that I'm observing. You could be observing any other part of the universe. It doesn't matter, right? Let's observe the part of the universe called a tree, right? There's a tree doing a tree thing. Can you allow the tree to be a tree? Right? It might get eaten by beetles or whatever those beetles are. Somebody might chop it down. There's all things that can happen to it. That's part of what it means to be a tree. This is part of what it means to be a human body, or to, for this human body to be what it is. And then there's the sensations in the body, the emotions in the mind. Again, the more you meditate and pull back and watch, you realize the sensations in the body are just part of the universe. They're not you. The emotions in the body are actually just part of the universe. They're not you. There's energies moving around in time and space. And the mind. I'm not saying you're not responsible or you don't influence those energies, and you do. But again, the more you pull back and watch, you take actually your willpower, right? When you suppress an emotion, when you try to stop or change or control something, you're using your will to try to influence what's there. The deeper teachings say, just pull back and watch. And then the body harmonizes, the emotions harmonize, your mind harmonizes, but because of law of attraction, your life harmonizes, and you don't have to be trying to fix it. We have a lot of teachings in the school that can make your life so much better, but the deepest teaching of how to do that is just practice observing. Okay, let's move on. Question, and then we'll go into a closing meditation. Question 6, again, I should know these, but I'm going to read just so I got it right in the right order. Question 6, have I suffered enough? Right, now imagine saying, no, I haven't suffered enough. He deserves retribution. They deserve my wrath, right? I'm not going to stop being mad until. Have you suffered enough? No, until this changes, I need to feel horrible. Or have you suffered enough? Yeah, I think I'd rather just be at peace. So if you got to question 6 and you're still not okay, then have you suffered enough? We use this question in hypnotherapy. I introduce it in our school for sure. when a client might be holding on, because again, I gave a pretty good talk there, at least a long talk about holding on, clinging, being attached, trying to make things be a certain way. When you try to make a changing thing be a certain way, like a person, right? Don't ever say that to me. Always come home on time, always bring flowers every Tuesday, always text at this hour, always call at this hour, always follow the proper communication schedule that we came up with. Yeah, be exactly the way I need you to be. As long as you do that, I'll be at peace. And how many people are still doing that? I'm not asking you to answer that, but think about how many people on the planet right now are still trying to make other people be the way they need them to be so they can be happy and at peace. So they can just be okay, right? We all want to just feel okay, happy, at peace, loving, joyful, like good inside of ourselves. And so many people are still trying to control others. The question that we can really ask at that moment is, have you suffered enough? And what needs to be pointed out, for you, your client, whoever this is relevant for, you are suffering when you're trying to make a changing thing not change. So have I suffered enough? Yeah, I have. I don't deserve to suffer. I don't want to suffer. And most importantly, I don't have to suffer. So last week we talked a lot about suffering. Here's a quote we didn't go into. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is a choice. Right? There is pain. We talked about that. Sukh and dukh, pleasure, pain. Right? That's part of the yin-yang experience of life. Your body is this whole nervous system. It's filled with pain receptive cells or whatever. Right? And then your brain interprets that stuff as pain. We can manipulate pain and even eliminate it with hypnosis. But if we're all honest, right? Human body, there is pleasure, there is pain. That's inevitable, right? There is still birth, there is still sickness, there is still old age, there is still death. There is still pain. The suffering is resistance to what is. So have you suffered enough? Yes. Therefore, you work to stop resisting what is. But if you still say, yeah, I've suffered enough, but you're still suffering, you're not at peace, then question 7. Am I willing to let this go? Right? It's intimately connected again. If you see how we're deconstructing the ego, deconstructing the psyche here, where it's stuck in a certain way of being, and that way of being is just not helpful. Have you suffered enough? Yeah, I have. Then are you willing to let it go? Right? You're angry at so-and-so because of what happened 40 years ago. Have you suffered enough from that? Are you willing to let it go? We'll go through all 10 questions in one flow towards the end of this. I'll do a meditation that can help even more. And then we'll go through all 10 questions and ask you to think about anything bothering you. And watch how at the end of the 10 questions, when you answer them properly, nothing won't be bothering you anymore. And if it is, go get some good hypnotherapy. So again, question 6, have I suffered enough? Question 7, am I willing to let this go? So again, what do we let go of? Everything. That which is meant to be in your life will stay. That which is there will be there. Your kids will still be there, unless they're not, right? Everything does change. In Buddhism, one of the deep, but so clear teachings in Buddhism is impermanence, right? Everything you're observing, everything is impermanent, right? Nothing lasts. So how do we remain at peace? Are you willing to let it go? Yes, but not just the external world and people, places, things, events. You're willing to let go of your perceptions, your ideas, your preferences for how things need to be, the things you say you like and dislike. Right? The more you do this work, you notice your whole psyche is this thing put together about who you are and what you like and how you want your life to be and what you prefer to happen. And all of that stuff, we actually just learn to let go of because you don't need it. Right? If you don't like broccoli, your body just doesn't groove on it. Like you won't eat it. But the you in there is like, I don't like that. And you start creating organizations about broccoli haters. Like, let it go. You don't need to create a whole life or a whole emotional, mental system about something in you because, this thing that got stuck in there, a perception, a philosophy, a point of view. Have you suffered enough? Yeah. Are you willing to just let it all go? So the real letting go, think about if you're holding a fish, like on a rope, we'll say not a fishing line, but like a rope, and there's a fish out there in the water, right? And you're like, I gotta let go of this fish. Like, what actually happens to just let go? You could say there's an opening of the hand, and then the fish just swims away. do anything about it. It's just going to go, and everything will go back to harmony. The fish, sorry, there's a hook in its mouth, but it's a bad example. But the fish can just be the fish, and the ocean can be the ocean again. But it's not your hand that has to let go. It's you who thinks there's value in holding the fish. There's no value in holding on to that which is moving and changing. If the fish stays in your life for a while, cool. When it goes away, cool. Right? Because you're okay. You're at peace. Right? So are you willing to let it go? If you answer no, you're absolutely going to suffer. If you say, yeah, I'm willing to let it go. I gave this quote last week, I believe. It's from A Course in Miracles. It says that, brain today, that which is real cannot be threatened. That which is unreal does not exist. Herein lies the peace of God. Right? So take that in for a moment. That which is real cannot be threatened. Right? Your consciousness cannot be threatened. Your peace can't be threatened. Your pure goodness can't be threatened. Nothing can change who you are. What's unreal doesn't even exist. Herein lies the peace of God. Accepting that what is, in our very essence, is everything you wanted to experience, says you have everything you need right inside of you. So let go of the fish. So what are you letting go of? Not your hand. It's an inner mental mechanism. It just learns to just let go and observe. Okay, somebody wrote, I need to handle the in-between. Maybe peace there at all costs. Okay, not quite sure how to respond to that, but thank you for sharing. And somebody else said, I do not handle, I flow and open myself to new experiences. Beautiful. It's just semantics, right? If I said, can you just open and flow to new experiences? Right? So handle it implies a sense of confidence, strength, right? If you say, I can just flow and dance with this. So we're saying the same thing, just the phrase, can I handle it, is implying there's personal power, there's strength, there's an ability. And yet, like those of us who understand more of the soft martial arts, like Tai Chi, Aikido, or those of you who dance, you understand dancing with what is far better than manipulating and controlling. And sometimes the hard martial art styles are not necessarily the best way to dance through life. So thank you, you who shared that. I think we're saying the same thing for sure. All right, let's move on. Number 8. Am I coming from spirit or coming from ego? And you could say that to your client or whoever. Now, again, these questions can be really rude if you ask them at the wrong time. Are you coming from spirit or you're coming from ego? And it's better that we ask ourselves that, because somebody's coming from ego and you ask that question, the ego gets pretty nasty, right? And usually it just seems like an attack. And ego is an attacking mind. Spirit doesn't attack. Spirit just is. So are you coming from spirit or are you coming from ego? So when we get defensive, ego. When we're trying to control someone, ego. So what's the difference between spirit and ego? Ego could be defined as a false sense of self, not who you really are. It's a masquerading self. It's saying, I am, but it puts stuff after I am, which is not necessarily who you really are. I am the body. I am a Caucasian 47-year-old male. I am, I can start defining who I am and building this whole house, building the house on sand, on my egoic sense of self. But it's not just I am the body, right? I am the angry, scared, vindictive person. I am the one who likes people to be on time. I am the one who demands this of my employees. I am the one who says my children must do this. All right, so again, it's not just I am the body, it's this whole sense of who I think I am. Once we realize that individual sense of self, according to pretty much every deep spiritual tradition, is a cause of all suffering, and we realize we don't necessarily want to be caught up in that kind of mind or misusing our mind in that way. So here we're defining ego is that which you are not, but that which you think you are. Right? And so ego basically is a false sense of self, an individual separate sense of self. But in the deepest sense of who ego is, it's terrified. It's very scared because it knows its foundation really isn't solid. And when it gets scared, it attacks. So it's actually, in A Course in Miracles, it goes on to say, the ego is a murderous mind. Right? We don't want to necessarily underestimate how powerful this aspect of our being is, but it's not that in the observing model, it's not that it just happens to be something floating around in the universe. We can observe the ego like something floating around the universe, but it's important to realize The ego is the sense of self that we think we are and that we're making, not creating. The more accurate word there would be making. We're making up this idea of who we think we are, but this idea of who we think we are is false. And because it knows it's false on a very deep level, it's scared. And again, because it's scared, it attacks. And it believes that there's self and other, because it says, I'm an individual self, you guys are other individual selves, and now it's competition, survival of the fittest. That mind, once we understand enough, it really is the cause of suffering. Then when somebody asks us, are you coming from spirit or ego? If you notice you're coming from ego, and how would you know you're coming from ego? It feels bad. If you ever feel bad, it's important to realize you're doing it and it comes from ego. And if you're miserable, you're doing it, it's your ego. But again, ego isn't like this thing, like some entity that latched onto your being. It's a way of misusing your mind, and you're responsible for that. So when you say, all right, I'm going to come from spirit, it's, for me, it's an automatic letting go. It just says, okay, you're right. Like, and we'll get to the idea of, would you rather be right or would you rather be happy, is question 10. But this question, which is number 8, I don't always look at the numbers when I go through this in my head. Question 8, am I coming from spirit or ego? If I choose to come from spirit, I just let go. It's like, I don't need to be right. I don't need to make my point. I don't need to convince you that you're right and I'm wrong. I'm right and you're wrong. It's just, I'd rather be happy. So again, question 10, we're jumping ahead. Would you rather be right or rather be happy? Ego needs to be right. Spirit is happy. It just wants to be happy, but doesn't even want to be happy, it just is happy. But this, your sense of you wants to be happy. When you move back into who you are as peace, peace is love, peace is joy, peace is bliss. Right? And wouldn't you rather feel that? So if you're not feeling that, you're coming from ego. When you're sad, it's ego. It's okay, but it is ego. When you're scared, it is ego. When it's anger, ego. And when it's guilt, it's absolutely ego. So the word forgiveness is very relevant in our work, because forgiving is a letting go, but it's not a physical letting go, it's a mental letting go. If you're suffering, it's ego, and forgiveness or letting go brings us back into spirit, right? So anytime you're feeling bad, just, is this spirit or ego? And if you're with a significant other who's open to these things, if you guys ever get in a nasty place together, one of you might just say, don't just say, are you might say, honey, are we coming from spirit or ego? I'm willing to come from spirit. It's my intention to come from spirit, which means I'd rather be in a peaceful, loving, and harmonious relationship, which is win-win for both of us, because spirit will do that. Ego doesn't even know how to do that. All right, number 9. What is your, or say, what is my, I'm making this really a personal thing, what is my highest intention in this moment? So by question 9, if you're still suffering, you have misplaced ideas of what you really want, right? So you're really angry at somebody, and you haven't really let it go yet. I'm sure everybody can relate to that. You just think of your childhood, that one person, you know that one person, they're already in your mind, right? And you're still mad at them. What is your highest intention? Now, those of you who've been through our school's training, you know the core transformation process, where we just keep asking, why do you want that? Well, I'm angry at him because he deserves to suffer. He deserves to be punished for what he did. And well, what is your highest intention? Why do you want that? Because if he suffers and feels bad and knows the pain I went through, it might give me some relief in my heart to know that he feels bad too. Why do you want that? Well, because I don't want my heart to feel so bad anymore. Well, why do you want that? Well, because I want my heart to feel happy. I want to feel good. Why do you want that? And then you might, have slightly different words for it, but because I want to be at peace. You can keep asking that question to yourself or others over and over again. Well, why do you want that? Because I want to be at peace. Once you realize, well, because I just want to be happy. I just want to be okay. Right? So everything is still happening. If the planet's still doing its thing, people are still doing their thing, life is doing its thing, your body is doing its thing, digestion is occurring, breathing is occurring. Right? What is your highest intention in all of this? I just want to experience my time on the planet while I'm here. You're going to spin around the sun. Every year is a spin around the sun. You're going to do it 70, 80, 90, however many years, and then you're going to go. Nobody who ever dropped down here stayed forever. You're here for X number of spins around the sun. And a good question would be, are you peaceful? Are you enjoying yourself? Are you having fun? Is it actually a beautiful experience? We're like, wow, this is the thing called life. I'm on a planet called Earth. It's amazing. And can you actually be at peace with it? Again, yes, I can. Can I handle? There's one of our classmates here, so kind of like, can I flow and dance with it? Yes, I can. So we'll go through all the questions in just a moment. And then, so question 9, what is your highest intention? Because again, if by 9 you're still holding on, your mind hasn't been convinced that actually all you want is peace. You're not different than anyone else. We all want peace. And then question 10, we touched on a little bit already. Would you rather be right, or would you rather be happy? Or would you rather be at peace? Right? So if they get to question 10, again, you can take clients through each question and say, would you rather be right or rather be happy? Right? A lot of the times, you're still unhappy. I mean, really at this point, it's because you still need to be right. Right? No, I can't be okay because I can't be happy because I have sickness. I've got a ventilator, however that works, stuck down my throat. Can you be actually at peace during that? Again, if you haven't practiced before they put you on a ventilator, probably not. But if you have practiced before, if it becomes a mental muscle, if you will, it becomes a habit, then, that would be challenging for anybody. For advanced meditators, I'm sure myself included, would find it very challenging to be at peace under circumstances like that. Yet to me, the teachings still apply. And while something like that may be happening, honestly, what else are you going to do? Right, so I'd like you to think about anything bothering you. You might use something like COVID-19 if you want to practice, like what would it be like to go through a really horrible experience like that? Could you be at peace? Or whatever you like to think about now. You can think of a past event still bothering you, anything that you're not okay with, you might find could be a challenge. And then whether you have your eyes open or closed, I'm going to take you through the 10 questions. And after that, we'll close with another meditation. So question 1, who are you? Regardless of what's bothering you, who are you? And then immediately, you don't have to ask the other 9 questions if you just do question 1 well. Just, I'm the observing consciousness. I don't know what was bothering me anyway, right? Because there's no past. In the observing consciousness, which is right here now, there's no past and there's no future. There's really no problem if you just return to yourself right here now. But let's say it's still bothering you. Question 2, can you handle it? I like the way it was said in the chat pod. Can you dance with it? Can you just flow with it? Yes, I can. Question 3, can you be at peace with it? Yeah, and just start to trick yourself into it by answering, yes, I can. That thing that was bothering you, can you be at peace with that? Yes, I can. Question 4, what are you feeling right now? And that's relating to your emotions, your heart, your solar plexus. Be aware of any emotion you might have. And then question 5, who's observing those emotions? Just pull back and watch. Right? Maybe you're still a bit angry about it, but you're watching that. But now let's say there's still part of you that's not fully there and completely at peace on every level. Question 6, have you suffered enough? Yeah, I've suffered enough. I just want to be at peace. Question 7, are you willing to let this go? You're just willing to let all of it go? Yes, because why would you want to hold on to anything that moves or that doesn't even exist anymore? Question 8, are you coming from spirit or ego? If you're at peace right now, you're coming from spirit. If you're not okay right now, it's ego. So you make the choice to come from spirit, to be spirit. Question 9, what is your highest intention right now? The only answer is peace. You might have other words like love, joy, bliss, oneness, God, but really, it's all the same reality. That's what I want. It's my highest intention, is the peace of my own soul. In question 10, if you're still suffering at all, would you rather be right or would you rather be happy? I'm letting it all go. I'd just rather be happy. Whatever's going on, I'd just rather feel good. And a thought to close that section of what we just did, we teach what we are. We teach what we are. So if I am stressed, I teach stress. If I am vengeful, I teach that. If I am angry, I teach it. And honestly, if you're sick, you teach sickness. If you're healthy, peaceful, clear, loving, high self-esteem, confident, successful in your career, successful in your relationships, you teach that. Right? So we have an obligation as role models, as hypnotherapists, as healers, to be okay. Right? And that's what everybody wants, no matter what's going on. Everybody out there drinking and whatever people are doing to try to feel better right now, they're just trying to be okay. And if they knew these teachings, there would be a lot more okayness out there. All right, we're going to close with a meditation. It takes maybe 5 to 10 minutes max. It's a meditation on cosmic consciousness. It helps to put everything into perspective in the bigger picture. And after that, I'll open the chat pod up to Q&A or any discussion you'd like to have. I'm going to close my eyes. You're more than welcome to close your eyes as well. Take a breath, let everything go, and just be aware again of where your body is now in time and space. Be aware of the room you're sitting in. There's your body. There's your arms and legs, hands and feet. There's your human. There's emotions in the human, perhaps. There's a mind in the human. At least we'll call it the lower mind in the human. But I like you to imagine you're floating above your body now, looking down, like way up, like you're on the ceiling. And there's your body in the room in time and space. Float up higher in your mind's eye to look down at the house or the building you're in right now. There's your body in a stay-at-home order. It has to stay in the house. Can you handle it? Yes, I can. Just look down and observe. There's your body sitting in your house. Float up higher and look down at your neighborhood. There's probably lots of houses with lots of people, and you're just observing. There's a neighborhood with lots of people. You may have forgotten that. Float up higher and look down at your entire city. Lots of people, lots of homes. And yet your body, your house is just one of those. Float up higher and you can observe the state that you live in or the province. And then float higher so you can look down at the continent that houses the state, that houses your neighborhood, that houses that body, but be so far out, you're just looking down at the continent. And then further to see the oceans and all 7 continents, all the ocean. And just look down at the earth. It's just spinning around on its own axis, a bit wobbly, spinning around the sun. Notice the moon spinning around the earth. Float out further, you'll see the sun and all the planets spinning around, comets, asteroids. Further out, you can look at the whole solar system. And then as you go further out, you'll notice that the thing we call the sun is just one medium-age, medium-sized star in what's called the Milky Way galaxy. As you float out, you'll notice the spiraling galaxy. There's a big black hole in the center swallowing up countless stars. You keep floating out. And that one galaxy with billions and billions of stars is one of billions and billions of galaxies. Float out to where you can see the whole universe, just a lot of galaxies. There are huge gas clouds, their gravity condenses, collapses in to create stars. You're just looking at star nurseries, black holes, supernovas, galaxies colliding into other galaxies, ripping each other apart. Huge storms on planets. But you're so far out, you're just watching. Imagine being the space that the universe is contained within. Float out and just look. There's a universe down there. The question is, who are you? I'll go through the 10 questions as you sit out here as the observer. Who are you? You'll go down into that universe. Can you handle it? Can you flow with it? Can you be at peace with it? There's a universe happening down there. What are you feeling right now about the universe happening? It's just kind of cool. Can you be at peace with it? Who's observing all this? Do you need to suffer when you're out here? Or can you just be at peace, observing a universe? Are you willing to let go? Just let it all go. Just let it do its thing down there. It's just doing its universe thing. Willing to let it go and just let it be? Are you going to come from spirit or ego in this journey? Will you be your true self of peace? Or are you going to incarnate as something else? Only peace, only spirit. What is your highest intention? Perhaps to be peace and to teach peace when you come back down. And would you rather be right about your own perspective, or you rather just be joy as you come down? Making the choice for peace, joy, love, happiness, goodness. Imagine you start your incarnation, flying down with a sense of excitement through all the galaxies. There's a spiraling Milky Way galaxy. Right on one of the arms of that galaxy, the spiraling arm, there's one little point of light. You don't even know why you're going there. It's a thing called the sun. It's so weird. You're dropping down. There's a thing called Earth. You pause for a moment. Wow, it's just this one blue planet. It took 13.8 or so billion years for it to get, well, whatever, 9 billion something years for it to get there. It's been doing it for another 4 billion. Huh, it's just an Earth down there. What's going on? You start floating down. There's all these clouds. It's very pretty. Oceans, whales, orcas. It's amazing, all this life down there. It's so cool. I wonder what body you'll get to take on and figure out, try. You look down at the continent for some reason, that there's a body you're moving towards. The state, that area of the continent. The city. Doesn't matter why, it's just you're coming down into it. There's a neighborhood. There's that house, and for some reason, you really don't know, there's a body there. And for one reason, however it happens, come right back down and be aware of your body here now. Eyes are closed. Maintain the seat of the soul. You're just kind of pulled back watching. Look at this, it's crazy. You're observing a human being sitting on a chair in the middle of the universe. It's science fiction, it's crazy, it's a 3D game, it's unreal. It's not you, it's just the part of the universe you're observing. Again, can you be at peace with it? Can you enjoy it? And while you're here, can you be love and light and peace and goodness? Because whatever reason, you do want to make better. And take your time, well, very slowly, but not yet. Do it very slow. In just a moment, you'll slowly open your eyes. When you do, realize you're just looking at this little part of the universe now. Remember the question, who am I? I'm the spiritual being observing the human. In this moment in time and space, when you're ready, you can open your eyes. And we'll just observe whatever's happening now in this little spot in the universe. If you have a window, I'd encourage you to look out the window for a moment. I see trees, I see clouds. It's all actually, because it's very cloudy up here. I live in the mountains, so it's very cloudy up here. It's beautiful. But right above all those clouds, there's that big thing called the sun. And there's this big Earth spinning, not that big, spinning around the sun. And there's all those other stars. They're just part of this one galaxy. So it kind of helps to go to that cosmic conscious perspective sometimes and to realize, even when you come back down, I'm just the observer of this part of the universe. And it's okay. It's just doing its thing. And you won't be here very long. All right. Hello, Peter, who's here. He said, and please let me open it up right now to sharing. Please tell me your thoughts about this. Share your own knowledge and wisdom. And I'm going to read what was written. What's beautiful. He says, love you, Matthew. I'm here for all of you who I am. May you all be peace. Thank you, brother. Beautiful. Someone else wrote, wow. Nice. So yeah, tell me, we'll start to wrap it up. It's been almost 2 hours. But I'm opening to you to share. What is it like to be the observer of universe? So that cosmic conscious meditation is super valuable. It's in our school's curriculum. The Vivekyati discernment meditation is in our school's curriculum. It's in a lot of my books and online products. And then it's part of the Peace Under All Circumstances series. So in closing, and then I'd love to hear from everybody. What I will say our next hypnotherapy training is starting this week. Congratulations to you guys who are enrolled in that. It starts April 16th. I'm pretty sure we still have some space available. I don't honestly look very much, but I think we're still good. Classes are still going on, even though there's COVID. We're mostly online, so we're able to keep delivering the education. And then next week's class, Monday, whatever date that is, the 20th, will be a yogic psychology, philosophy, opening the heart, clearing emotional blocks. So really how to work through your emotions from the Eastern psychology teachings, not necessarily from the Western teachings. It's stuff I brought into our hypnotherapy, but it's not necessarily just part of hypnotherapy. So again, deeper teachings that can just make hypnotherapy so much better. All right, so thank you, everyone. And without saying names, even though I know most of you and love you all, let's just see what's here. And then if you need to log off, feel free. If you're watching this recording, I won't be offended if you close it. Such a beautiful reminder. Thank you as always. Thank you. Thank you, Matthew. It's empowering to think more in an observing state of mind. Absolutely. And again, somebody said again and again, thank you for the journey. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So excited to be in class. Thank you. Have a peaceful evening. Love the perspective shifts. All right, great. Thank you, everybody, for sharing. I'm going to stop the recording. It'll be right here. If there's anything you want to ask, talk about, share, I will work on getting rid of the flicker on the recording or this. I apologize for that. And I'm going to figure out how to get a haircut. I'll do it myself by the next class. All right, since all the barber shops are closed. Thank you, everybody. And let's just stop recording.